Can we talk for a minute about our Integrating Heart and Mind workshop?
Absolutely. I'm excited. It's coming up in the fall of 2024.
I'm so excited. We changed the format to make it more accessible to people with like work schedules and personal schedules. And so this time we're going to do it 3 hours on a Friday afternoon or evening, depending on where you're at, and 5 hours on Saturday for 2 different weeks in September.
Yeah, it's so great. Like if you're finding yourself stuck in like sticky bad patterns or having communication issues or something like that, or if you want to just like get closer and trust yourself or your partner more, this is the workshop for you.
Yeah, and individuals are welcome, couples are welcome. If you're interested in really thinking through how to serve yourself well inside of your relationships, then we've built a workshop that will support you in finding the ways that are just right for you.
To sign up, head over to our website at whydoesmypartner.com/events.
We hope you'll join us.
Welcome to the Why Doesn't My Partner podcast.
I'm Jules.
I'm Vickey.
And I'm Rebecca. We're your hosts. We're also couples therapists and messy humans bumbling through our own relationships every day.
We met through our training and practice of relational life therapy. Between us, we have more than 40 years of experience holding hard relational questions with our clients. We're going to bring those questions here.
And together, we're going to take a stab at answering those questions. This podcast is not a substitute for therapy. If something you hear in this episode stirs something deep within you about your relationship, reach out to a couples therapist in your area.
We'd also love to hear your questions, so don't forget to go over to whydoesmypartner.com and leave us a question of your own. Here's today's question. So, why did my partner marry me? Like, I'm really asking.
No, this is the question for this week. Why did my partner marry me?
Go, Vickey. I can see your brain going.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this question, I'm sad. This question, I mean, I don't want to say this question makes me sad because the whole, like, no one can make you feel anything. And I know that.
What story are you telling yourself about the question?
My heart aches for the person who put the question in because the story in my head is that things aren't going well. And, well, if I would make it me, I'd be like, he doesn't seem to like me anymore. So why did he marry me? That's that's the story in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And that I'm saddened by that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know what comes up for me with this question is this is a question that probably comes up when it's been hard for a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is normal.
Thank you.
Because the disillusionment thing, right? So you have the honeymoon phase of the relationship and everything's golden and I'm looking past all of our differences and I'm not paying attention to anything that I would normally call flaws. And I think that weird way you breathe through your nose when you laugh is super cute. When I was in my 20s, I was at this in a different job in a different life. And this guy was going through a divorce. And I was sitting at a table with a bunch of people, 10 people maybe. And one of them was going through a divorce. And he was sitting right next to a woman who had just gotten married, maybe 3 months before. So newlywed. And he looks at her, he goes, "What's the cutest, most adorable thing about your husband?" And she says something about his laugh. He goes, "Yeah, that thing in 10 years, that's going to drive you nuts."
Oh my God, it's so fucking true.
It's so true. It's so true. Right? So that disillusionment could happen in a moment, but it could also happen over a period of months or even years.
Yeah.
So I read this question. I went, "Oh, I love this question."
You did.
It's a good one.
And I was like in tears.
Totally. I love this question.
And I
it gets
totally
to the
relate to this
heart.
question.
Yeah, say more.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, I've been there. I've been that person who asked that question. Right? Like I've been
in the point in my marriage where all of a sudden I'm like, wait, hold on a minute. There's like some kind of feedback I'm missing here. Like, I don't understand that we hit a wall. I wasn't understanding him, or he wasn't understanding me, or whatever the thing was. And I was lost and I didn't know anymore. Why did he marry me? What does he see in me? I mean, we've worked through it and now I know why he married me and what he sees in me. I can answer all those questions now. But there was a point where like I was that person asking the question.
Mm-hmm. And did it come after a long period of what we would call that disillusionment, knowledge without love?
Yeah.
Right. So think of honeymoon as like love without knowledge.
Yeah.
The disillusionment space as knowledge without love. And then the mature love space as knowledge and love being held together.
Yeah. I think we're in that last place now.
Mm-hmm.
But when this question would have been really relatable to me, I was totally in disillusionment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And was it more your disillusionment towards him or him towards you, or were you both sort of sitting in the depths of it simultaneously?
I was wondering that too.
Yeah. I mean, like if I really had to kind of like put it on a map of our relationship, I'd say like we had just had kids. I was deeply postpartum. He probably had postpartum too. You know, we were just like in this dark, how are we surviving, but we are kind of place.
Yeah.
And kind of secretly either being really disgruntled with each other or receiving whatever's happening in them as rejection, judgment, disappointment, which I think is one of the hardest ones, actually.
Yeah.
So it's just like, if you're this disappointed in me, why the hell did you marry me?
Right. Whereas, like where I am now, my car needs to go in and get something checked on and get something fixed. And my husband made an appointment for me to go take it in today. And I forgot. I didn't put it on my calendar. I forgot about it completely. And I took the girls out for something because like, it's summer. We can go do blah, 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 blah. And so we went out. And then as we were parking the car, I was like, oh, you know where I'm supposed to be right now? Oh my God. And I called him up and I told him about this. And I was like, I'm so sorry, honey. Anyway, he made another appointment. And I came home and I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I said I was going to, and I can't believe I forgot. And he goes, you're going to have to deal with the anxiety about that because you're the one that's really worried about that thing in the car. But it's okay with me.
Brilliant.
Like,
so
we're okay now.
Yeah, that's what I was hearing. Like,
totally.
He was okay. Like, okay, so
he's totally fine with it. Like,
totally fine
it's
with
a
it.
bummer, you know, but like, get it, honey. It's okay. It's your anxiety that would be the thing that, you know,
you're the one that's going to be paying for this. Doesn't faze me.
You. I'm not judging. It's just yours.
Yeah.
You know,
go.
Yeah. You also said, Rebecca, this beautiful sentence that you were in a place of, I don't know how we're surviving, but we are.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much to that sentence. Like, how are we surviving? We are, but how are we?
Right. And I think that really speaks to the disillusionment.
Yeah. And I do think that I'd read an article years ago that the headline was for a couple to like last forever kind of thing, they have to make it through this phase. And I thought, I can't speak for anybody else reading the article, and I've never found it since. I thought it was gonna be like buying a house, like a big tangible phase. And in very different words, the article was basically saying love without knowledge. Knowledge without love. Like some couples don't make it through that phase, be it pre-marriage or post-marriage.
Right.
That's when the breakups happen.
It is exactly when the breakups happen. And the thing is this phase will do one of two things for you. It is either going to break you or it is going to move you into a spiritual awakening.
I love the spiritual awakening piece.
Yeah.
And you get to decide. And you get to decide. And guess what? You get to decide if you're going to let it wake you up to your stuff, even if your marriage breaks up.
Yes.
Oh.
That's the thing, right? Because there's this power for this huge, who am I in the world and how do I walk on this earth space in here?
Mm-hmm. So can we talk about marriage as a spiritual journey?
Oh,
Wow.
please.
Right?
Yeah.
So why is it that I would choose a partner that would bring up all my old stuff in exactly this way when I had other boyfriends who didn't bring this up, but I let them go? I had first dates who were very kind and interesting. And I went, boring, move on.
Yeah.
Why is it that I have to marry a person who is really good at sticking the burning spear into my eyeball? Right? I think it's actually about healing. So here's the story I make up about it, is that I have a little one inside me who has a belief, and it's a fantasy and it's a false belief, but it's a belief that drives this motor. That if I can find someone who reminds me of my past pain enough to bring it all up, but then I get them to do something different, that it'll heal every pain I've ever had. And all of that will magically go away. Now, will that actually
there's
work?
A little bit of truth to that.
Kind of, and yes and no. There's what I think is going on underneath it is a deep longing for healing and a knowledge, like an internal wisdom that I swear the subconscious mind and intuitive mind holds, that I need to be triggered enough to heal. That's true. But the healing will never come when I get my partner to show up in a different way. The healing will come when I do something different instead. So the healing doesn't come by me finally, I don't know, whatever, getting the affection or emotional insight that I wanted from a parent but didn't have. It's gonna come when I get up trying to get them to do it. Now, it could be I end up with a partner when I stop trying to get them to do it, that they turn around and show up for me and Yahtzee for me, if that's the case. But that's not where the healing happened. The healing happened in the moment where I gave up that urgent search for it and didn't die.
Yeah.
I didn't die.
Because something shifted.
That's the mismatch. So there's this mismatch that's going to happen in our brain when we let go of the way we have been trying to get it. And that's the spiritual awakening. And it opens up everything into more insight about what your needs really are or what you really want. Because a lot of times we're like scrambling at surfacey sort of stuff, and really get still with ourselves and get more interested in what it is that we're really after and start speaking for it in a really different way. So I think this kind of moment is like the spiritual awakening moment.
It's funny when you, on a superficial level, I don't remember what set it off today, but Gabe was being irritating, God bless him. And I got annoyed, and then he started giggling, and I turned around and looked at him, and I was like, why is this fun for you? And he goes, but it really is. And I looked at him, and I changed things, and I said, you know what? I am not your toy. And he laughed. He goes, but you kind of are. And I said, no, I am not. And I'm going to use my off button. I said, you don't get to find the on button anymore. I'm using the off button. And I walked over and hugged him and then stormed out of the room using withdrawal. So that was healthy. But it was kind of this aha moment for me of he doesn't have to control the on and off.
Yeah.
And you don't have to get him to flip it the right way.
Right. I don't. And I've spent how many years with him going, you need to stop playing with me. Stop trying to make me annoyed because you love the reaction. You need, and that's what you're saying. I need to work on the don't, I mean, the whole concept of don't push my buttons. I need to do the work of not giving him the on button anymore. It wasn't quite as deeply spiritual as you're describing, but it was on a superficial level.
Underneath it. It might be underneath it, because if it turns out he cannot make you annoyed, if you don't want him to make you annoyed,
right, it will
Yeah,
shift
that's
what
big.
changes for you?
And then if
That's
you can,
not so superficial.
Correct. Well, and I picture sometimes I'm not always that great at it, but oftentimes now my boundaries, my monster truck tires come up in front of me, and I'm not as annoyed by him.
you know what else I find is really interesting about this is that it's like our partners provide us the space to really. Jules, you have a little one right behind you at the window. It's really
Oh
cute.
my gosh. Hi, sweetie. I'll be right out.
I just saw an ear up on the door. So cute.
Our partners provide us an opportunity, like a sandbox to play it out and figure it all out in and learn this stuff about ourselves. But then I find that like once I really embody it and learn it in my marriage, I can apply it elsewhere too.
Yes.
That's the spiritual work. Like yeah. And when I think about the spiritual piece of it, I really think about like my spirit or your spirit, like the part of me, the light, the part of me that's like been wanting for so long to be seen and noticed. And when we really are on that journey together, like that's what we're seeing in each other.
Exactly.
And then you take it into other relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that, that's really what's underneath this question. Why did my partner marry me? It's because we have some healing work to do together.
And maybe you'll keep doing it together, and maybe it'll be your spiritual awakening that happens independent of your partner and you stay married. Or maybe it's your spiritual awakening where you do your work away from your partner. But whether it breaks you or wakes you is entirely your choice.
Yes.
Beautiful.
All right. So I hope you all enjoyed this episode.
Yeah. Good luck with your spiritual awakenings in whatever form they may come, superficial or otherwise.
Bye-bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.
Love each other best you can. That wraps up this week's episode. Join us again next week for another Why Does My Partner?
We hope that you continue to listen wherever you get your audio and that you'll follow the show.
To go deeper, join us at our boot camp. You'll find the next date at whydoesmypartner.com.
Did you know you could ask us your question?
Your questions are relational gold.
Go to whydoesmypartner.com to either write in or record your question for a future episode.
Wait until it starts recording. Okay, now go.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.